something that I just can't understand the way I behave. Some people you can never save. In my right hand, got a girl on my ear, and on my left hand, throwing back a beer. What can I say, amigo?
So, next day dawns bright and early. You've probably all gotten in bed around maybe 2, except for Miranda, who headed home around midnight or so. Your alarm goes off, Jody, probably around 8 o'clock. So you can get up, get cleaned up, head down to the police station. I don't know if the rest of you are planning to get up early. Bunks is no.
Kind of early. Go to a AA meeting.
Okay.
Talk to my sponsor, and then I'll probably swing by the church.
Okay. Sounds good. You plan to do that like around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock? What are we thinking?
Yeah, before 10.
What day is today?
It is Thursday morning, believe it or not. That's, if you remember, we started actually playing, I think it was 1 week ago today.
Okay.
Wow. Isn't that crazy? Lots happened in a week.
Not in real time.
Yes. Might be time for a vacation, for sure. Yeah. Whew. It's a lot.
Heck, I might take a personal day.
Evil can wait. That's right. So, 9 o'clock rolls around, Jody. You've just walked up to the New Orleans Police Department building. It's a very heavy granite affair. All these granite slats like this with glass behind them, and of course an open area with pillars. You walk up to it because you don't have a car, so you walk up to it to the front big glassed-in entrance. This is not the precinct you went to before. This is the main building.
Okay.
Because you had gone to a smaller precinct before with a glass window where they kind of stonewalled you on the whole thing with Terrence. But this is the main branch. So you go up, everything's glassed in. You walk into the front door. You can see lots of open areas with desks and people sitting behind desks, men and women. You think probably detectives. You see patrol officers going in and out. There's police cars all around, leaving and coming back. So it's a pretty busy place. And you go into the front. There's a desk, and there's a young woman behind the desk, blonde, and she seems to be working at a computer.
I step up and wait for her to recognize. See that I'm there.
Computer goes, psst. And she goes, not again. You gonna let her computer die?
Oh, I thought
Yes.
you...
Yes.
Do you want, if you take the compel, you can let her computer die.
Yeah.
Okay. She goes, what?
Hi, I'm here to see Officer McHenry.
Fine, let me buzz you through. Let me call him first. Pick up the phone.
Take my ID
McHenry,
back.
someone here to
If
see
you
you.
didn't want it.
Yes. Okay, I'll buzz her through. Go on through, straight back. It's the second door on the left. He's got an office.
Thank you. Have a good
You
day.
can hear her mumbling things really, probably that you shouldn't say in front of small children. She's playing with the computer, trying to figure out what's going on, hitting the power button, everything. It's dead. So,
I'm just imagining she gets close to trying door, fries it, fails lock.
it's locked inside. You go in through the glass door, lots of tile, fluorescent lights, and you head down this long hallway. You see several policemen and policewomen standing in hallways. Some of them are drinking coffee or, Cokes, talking. They see you. As you get closer to them, they immediately stop talking about what they're talking about. Maybe it's something, they don't know who you are. You go down the hallway. Second door on the left is closed, and there's a window in it, but there's a curtain over it. What do you want to do? Come in.
I go in.
McHenry is sitting behind a desk, and he says, the lady from last night, your name is Dela. Fontenot, right? Mm-hmm. Look, I was going to take your statement, but after the death of 3 of our officers, it's been kind of kicked upstairs a little bit. So I'm going to escort you to Captain Brian Johnson.
In my mind, I'm like, great.
Yeah, you're a little nervous about this. He says, look, let's head to the elevator and I'm going to take you upstairs.
We did good.
You don't want to go on the elevator.
I'm going to go on the stairs.
He looks at you kind of funny and says, okay, cardio, we'll take the stairs. It's only about 3 flights.
I I just don't trust electronics.
I understand. Mildred, the lady out in the lobby, seemed a little bit upset. She said something that her computer had quit on her in the middle of filing a report, so she's not real happy right now.
Right, I was there when it happened, which is why I don't want to take your elevator.
Sure. Well, it is kind of old. Here, let me show you where the stairs are. So you walk down further down to all the way to the end of the hallway. There's like doors, holding cells. There's areas where you're booking. There's also interview rooms, and you get all the way to the end, and there's a set of elevators. The doors open, ding, ding, as you walk by, which is kind of a weird thing for elevator doors to do. He's kind of looking at it and says, probably a good idea if we take the stairs. Opens one of the doors, pushes the little bar, you go in, start heading up the stairs. I am going to need you to make me... Hold on.
Endurance check?
Probably what we're going to need. Yes, actually. That sounds like a great thing to do. Make me an endurance check, please.
Ooh.
That, I'm going to re-roll this one since it's picked up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh!
No, even better. What'd you get?
I have a 3.
Okay. You start trucking up the stairs. You get to the top. When you do, you're a little winded, so you're going to take 1 point of physical
Really?
stress. Yes. It's a little tiring heading up those stairs. Turns out it's about 4 flights up. You notice that McHenry seems to be handling it pretty well. He's in pretty good shape. You get up there, come out of the door, and this area of the police department is decidedly nicer. There's it's carpeted. The glassed-in offices are a little nicer. They have nicer desks, things like that. You notice that several of them have bookshelves on the back wall. His was basically just a paneled cubicle. I mean, it wasn't really nice at all. So you're kind of like, all right, this is a little nicer area. He takes you about halfway down the hallway. You turn to the right, and there's a secretary sitting in front of a glassed office that actually has the blinds drawn on it. And he says, Officer McHenry, I'm here to see Captain Johnson. This is Dela. And the secretary says, let me call and make sure he's available.
And I'm going to make sure I'm trying to give wide berth, since apparently I'm super...
Well, you are maybe a little nervous, right? So she gets on the phone, and
I should have had a shot
so then she...
before I came.
Flu shot.
Yeah.
That's great.
Let's say
She
that.
puts the phone down and says, yes, the captain will see you. Go right on in. Officer McHenry, you can leave. McHenry goes, oh? Okay. I'll head back down. So
Bye, thanks you.
he heads back out and down, and you head inside the door.
It's all getting fried now.
Right, well, it's a nice door, nice office. It's got wooden walls behind it, large desks. There's some bookshelves with various binders and folders and stuff like that. A couple what look like file cabinets, and behind the desk is sitting this gentleman, dark hair. He's actually wearing, it looks like, dress blues. And so, he's got the hat and the nice coat and everything like that. And he as you come in, he stands up, maybe in his 40s, mid 40s. So he's a bit older than you. And he says, Dela Fontenot.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Brian Johnson extends his hand out, shakes
Nice
his
to
hand.
meet you. Anything?
No, he's not a
He's
practitioner.
fried.
Yeah, he's right. No, he's not a practitioner.
Brian Johnson.
You must
Not
not a
Brian
robot
Johnson, right.
either.
He says, I saw the report that McHenry had filed, and that's fine. That'll do. He says, have a seat.
Okay.
Now tell me what really happened. Off the record. He says, I lost 3 good men last night, and I want to know what really got them. So you're kind of like, what? How much do I tell you?
Can I
Knock you down.
ratchet up my nervousness to ensure that all possible electronic recording devices could be fried that are in the room?
I'll let you do that. Well, he doesn't seem to be recording anything that you can tell. If you want to slide me one of those little fate points back, I'll make sure that happens. Okay.
I fried a computer so I could fry everything.
That's right. That's right. If there's any listening devices, you're feeling a little nervous.
I trust no one. I mean,
You notice that his computer, interestingly enough, is turned off. Not running or in sleep mode where you can see power saver mode. It's actually turned off.
Well, I'm just being safe. And
Right.
if it's turned off, then it didn't fry his stuff.
No, it did not.
We're good. All right. So, what do you know?
I know that 3 of my men died. I know they died in very strange circumstances. One of the perpetrators who supposedly killed them was decapitated. The other one was stabbed to the chest with a sword. So that's a little odd, and that's not in the official report, of course. We're going to put that it was gang violence or maybe something along those lines.
It really was gang violence,
Really?
if you think about it. So let me explain.
So let's explain. Really? Explain how this was gang violence?
It all started with the ghosts in the city, especially in the quarter area, were very upset. They couldn't sleep. They couldn't get any rest. They were causing lots of problems in restaurants and bars and all that kind of stuff. So we investigated to keep damage down and to not freak people out. And we discovered that there was something further north and west that was causing the ghosts to be kept awake all the time. Mm-hmm. Long story short, the people who were doing it were the owners of the Museum of Death. They got a hold of an item that allowed them to do that. And they had a bunch of ghouls. You may not know what those are, but they're very
flesh-eating. They tend to hang around the docks. They've been making their way into organized crime in the area, actually, which is a big
why
concern.
I call it gang-related.
Right.
Because they act like a gang.
Bunk's going, what?
So they acted like a gang. So originally, the ghouls attacked us, and we came back again and attacked them, and discovered that this couple from the Museum of Death were responsible for all of it. She was a necromancer, and he was her what do they call him? Stoogie?
Apprentice?
Apprentice? Okay, apprentice. And
Stoogie work.
Stoogie apprentice. Apprentice. So we attempted to lure them into the cemetery so that we could quietly and easily take them out. And the officers who assisted us were handpicked by the church. They had assisted in things like this before, so they knew exactly what they were looking into.
Right,
what they were
they're
getting into.
a part of the New Orleans Special Task Force, right.
Right, but for various and sundry reasons, the things that they'd done there, the battle did not go so well in the cemetery. And we had to take out a drum, a magical, mystical drum that was causing all the problems in the city. So we had to go to the Museum of Death. We came in from 2 different sides. The police came in from
The front.
the front, thank you. Mm-hmm. And the rest of us, we came in from the back so that they wouldn't put us together. And it was a tough battle. It was very mean. They had lots of nasty stuffs in their arsenal.
How exactly did Jefferson and Captain... and Antoine and the sergeant die?
I was in the back part of the storefront.
Well, what did you see when you came around front?
When I came around front, I saw that 2 of the officers were slumped against the wall. It looked like they'd been attacked by the ghouls.
Remember, they were desiccated. They'd been drained of energy. Yeah.
Isn't that what ghouls do?
No, it was a big necrotic magic
It was
spell.
like some
that-
sort of necrotic spell went
The
off.
captain actually got slashed to pieces by the ghosts.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the other 2 got necroticized.
Well, okay.
That's a
Well,
word.
part of their magical thing that they had going on was if they touched something, it could pull the life energy out of them. So it just sucked the life from them.
So the people that were executed, that was your work.
The man, yes, that was my work. I think I executed. Yeah, both.
You did both.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Both of
You
them.
did both of them.
Back up.
Yeah.
Yes, that was my work. I I am a warden. I am the warden of New Orleans.
A duly
I don't
appointed
know if
member
you
of
know
the
what that
White
means.
Council. You're supposed to administer the magical things that go on in this area. Right. I'm
Right.
familiar with the White
And
Council.
with all the atrocities that they had committed and were going to continue to commit, I took them out so they couldn't be saved by the system and do further damage to the city.
Right. Well, my understanding of the White Council is they generally don't save necromancers anyway. They're generally executed summarily
Correct.
out of hand. We've had wardens in the city before. You're not the first one to be the warden of New Orleans.
I know.
And not the first warden I've met either. But they were handled.
The wardens were handled?
No. The problems were handled.
Okay.
The wardens are generally allies of the police.
I was
Yeah.
about to go.
Although sometimes the wards were the
wait a
problem.
minute.
Whatever handles
That's why you're here and not the other guy.
I'm like,
We'll
I'm
see
gonna
in the
take
back
this
of the
reason
shed.
I'm
We
gonna take
needed
this
a
whole
new
building down.
He says
No one has
generally the
electricity.
wardens and the White Council align the same direction as we do. We're both keepers of the peace. They're generally better equipped to deal with the more magical menaces, and sometimes they need backup. Only thing I'm concerned about is I don't want any more of my men losing their lives.
Well, we don't either. We had no
Right.
idea that was going to happen or it was going to go that way. We thought we had everything worked out and figured out, but they had a lot of powerful items that we were not aware of.
What's happened to these items? We don't want them falling into the wrong hands.
They won't. I've taken the items and they will be delivered into the white. They'll be delivered
Into the white
council's coffers to be kept, and then yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what I needed to hear off the record, of course. We can't make this go away. I may need to get a statement from you later. But for the most part, we're pretty adept at making the non-mundane appear mundane to the department. We've been doing this for a while. We're reasonably good at handling these threats. Necromancers are a little out of our league. He says, so next time you need backup for any magical mission like this, I want you to go through me, not through the rest of the department. He reaches onto his desk and he hands you one of his cards. He said, I want everything cleared through me before any of my officers are brought into anything you're doing.
I understand. We were under the impression that these officers had done these before.
They had. But I need to make sure that when an officer's lost in the line of duty and it's hard to explain to his family what he was doing in the line of duty,
Yes,
it's tough.
I
So
know.
I just don't want any more of that happening if we can avoid it.
We'll do that.
Yeah, he stands up, he shakes your hand, he says, thank you for being honest with me, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your knowledge and understanding.
And so you start heading out and he's walking with you to the stairs. And he goes to the stairs and he's talking to you and he says, so you handled the necromancers, you're taking care of the items and things like that. Have you contacted the White Council? Are they aware of the situation?
I have. It was very late last night.
Right.
You were my first appointment of the day, so
Right.
when I get home, I'm going to be talking to the White Council and taking
great.
care of those items.
So he takes you out and he's kind of walking you out is what he's doing, okay? As you're walking down there, he says, oh. And when you get to the lobby, you can see that there's a young woman, and she has two kids, two girls. The lady's got kind of reddish hair. She's thin, maybe in her 20s, and you can tell she's been crying. Her eyes are red and stuff like that. And Captain Johnson says, just a minute. And he walks over to her and he says, Sarah? And she says, Captain Johnson? And he says, look, why don't you come back behind here? I think we need to talk about what happened to Antoine. And she says, okay. And she says, come on, Hillary, come on, Jillian. And so she grabs the kids, and they're kind of looking wide-eyed around the police department, kind of what's going on. Right behind her comes in this young black woman. She's dressed nicely, and she comes in and she says, Johnson, what happened to my boyfriend? And Johnson goes, I'm going to explain everything to you, I promise, but I need to get Sarah and the kids. I need to get the kids busy doing something so I can talk to you and Sarah together. And she says, well, you better tell me what happened to him, and whoever did it better pay. And she goes, sweeping back in there just in time for the door to be buzzed out of her way. And he says, this is not going to be a fun morning. He says, well,
I'm sorry.
thank you for, well, hey, I appreciate you being honest with me. And like I said, next time, clear it through me first. And he kind of wipes the sweat from his forehead and heads back behind the glass door. You notice that Mildred, the girl who's sitting behind the counter, is watching this whole thing. And she kind of looks at you, and then she kind of looks at what's going on, and she just goes, and goes back to, looks like her computer's come back on, and she's typing.
Should I walk over?
No, I won't.
So
You shouldn't. You should sashay.
all right, you've gotten up, you've gone to your AA meeting. It's probably about 9 o'clock in the morning. This has probably taken about an hour or so to get all this done. He did have you fill out a little bit of paperwork and stuff like that, but we'll kind of gloss over that. Then you were going to go to the church and...
Speak to. I guess it was Fano, or I can't remember who was the on-site guy.
Deacon Fontainebleau?
Fontainebleau, not Fontenot.
That's I thought that should be fun.
And I can't recall how much we filled him in about what happened.
He doesn't know anything that happened last
Okay.
night. No, this is, like I said, this is the morning after, so yeah.
So I'm gonna go let him know what happened and that we lost guys, and just check in and see if they had any issues since we turned in the Staff of Solomon or anything like that. No one's come poking around for it or whatnot.
Right, you go in through the front doors, the little door towards the offices. You know where that is, through the church, and so you head down there. Head down. I think it's a couple doors down on the left. The door says Deacon Fontainebleau. Knock on the door. You hear a muffled "come in" from inside. You go in, and Deacon Fontainebleau is sitting behind his desk. He looks like he's writing something, and he looks up and he says, "Oh, Marissa, it's good to see you." And so, how did things go last night?
Not great.
Oh.
Yeah, we lost like 3 people.
Well, have a seat. Have a seat. So he points to one of his, like nice little stuffed chairs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we found the people responsible, and they've been they were taken care of. But we lost people last night, and I don't think anybody thought we were going to be up against what we were up against.
What were their names? And,
How about
That's all
I
right.
tell him their names.
Antoine, Jefferson, and then Sergeant. I can't remember the sergeant's name. I think I wrote
Digger.
that. Sergeant. Oh no, sorry, Sergeant Jefferson.
Sergeant Jefferson, and then there was
Sergeant
Vasquez lived.
O'Malley lived too.
Williams, Larry
Williams.
and
Antoine. Okay, Antoine, Larry, and then Sergeant Jefferson. Yeah, they were the 3 that died.
Yeah.
He says, well then, we will say a special mass for their immortal souls. I'll see if I can get the Archbishop involved. If not, I'll at least have one of the priests do it. For sure. These men died in service to the church, and especially in service to God, and we need to remember them for the heroes that they are, and the warriors.
I appreciate that. Also, there was a kid, Oliver, who worked.
Oliver, the security guard. He's been dismissed. Yes, we don't need him around allowing people into sacred and holy ground to do rituals like you took care of last night.
Right.
No.
I think we may need to follow up with him. I think he was a little more involved than just letting people in. I think he was
I can track him down.
promised like necrotic immortality or something, and
Well,
he
the
really drank the Kool-Aid.
forces of evil always promise a lot of things to people to get them involved. That's for sure. But I have his last residence where we used to send his checks, and so I'm pretty sure I can track him down, and we'll certainly send a emissary of the church out to have a chat with him. So.
Okay. Do you mind if I go with the emissary? I just
No, of course not.
Considering what we've been dealing with lately, I don't want to send a lot of unprepared people into
Absolutely.
something.
Sure. No, that's fine. That's fine. Of course, you can go with an emissary of the church. We consider you a friend here, Miranda. Of course. Anything you're interested in. Yes, absolutely. I'll see if I can dig up the information, and I'll get one of the maybe priest to go along with you, and you can go talk to him. Who knows? Perhaps we can save this young man's immortal soul. I mean, that's bottom line what we're here for.
That's the number one goal.
Right. Look, let me get back to you with the information, and we'll set up an appointment. Let's plan to meet here tomorrow, maybe 10 a.m., and I should have the information, and hopefully one of the priests is available at that time, and you can head out there.
Sounds great.
Sounds good. Good.
Thank you for your time. I know you're very busy, so.
You stand up, and your phone rings.
Oh.
And it's a phone call, and the number that comes up is Dela.
Oh, okay.
And the number says Dela Fontenot, and it says yes. I'm sorry, your phone doesn't ring. A text message comes through, and it says the number that comes up is Dela Fontenot. It says, "Hey, I need to meet you at my house. Can I see you at 11 a.m.?"
Today? Is it
Yeah,
referring
that's what
to
it says,
today?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, oh, well, looks like I have another appointment here very soon, but thank you for seeing me.
Yeah.
Without an
Now, you got
appointment.
about an hour and a half, because it's only about 9:30. It didn't take long to talk to him, so.
All right. Well, after I leave there, I'll go grab some food and head to Dela's house.
Okay, cool.
I was doing really well, not talking to your interaction. I'm not gonna lie, whenever you started it, my mind blanked for a moment, and you're just like, "Yeah, how'd it go last night?" Like, not very good. We lost 3 people, and I was thinking it was the AA meeting. And I
Damn.
was like, and then I just started thinking about this whole thing, like,
do
do they send someone to collect the pins? Is it on the honor system, or they just expect you to bring it back? Like that was.
Yeah, wow.
When did I text her?
All right, so Kylan, were you planning to get up early this morning?
Yeah, I'd probably clean up the rest of the.
Well, you've gotten
Boxes.
everything done. The
Okay.
boxes were finished. You would actually set up your traps, if you remember.
Yep.
Right. Well, I don't know if you were planning to do anything else early in the morning.
I was knocking out walls, wasn't I? For a
You were
bathroom?
working on your bathroom.
I guess I'll work on that some more and
Okay.
demo some
About
stuff.
10 o'clock, your phone goes off. It's a text message from Dela saying that she would like to meet with you at her house at 11 a.m.
Okay.
You've been texting.
You gonna reply yes?
I'm just gonna put okay.
Okay. Bunk. Now I know you're probably asleep. You've been sleeping in. You know, your phone goes zzz, 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 and it's a text message from Dela.
Okay.
It says, "Meet at my place at 11 a.m." Question mark.
Too early.
It's really important. Is what it says.
That's all you said about.
The thinking emoji pops up.
Yeah. Dot 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 dot. Keeps going. Yeah.
Okay, I guess.
Okay. Cool. And so then, yeah. Darwin, what were you doing this morning? Were you planning to sleep in? Get up kind of medium early? What?
I think medium early. That sounds fine.
Maybe 10 o'clock?
Yeah, that sounds actually real good.
Okay. 10 o'clock, you probably get up, start reloading your gun, because I know you...
Yeah, I read on everything.
Yeah, so you're reloading, re-enchanting these. You just finished maybe doing this about 30 minutes or something like that, and you realize there's a text message on your phone. It's been there for about 30 minutes, because you probably didn't have that back there in the thaumaturgy lab, because that might fry your phone, and you know better than that. And it says, "Hey, I need you to meet me at my house today at 11 a.m. It's from Dela.
She has a cell phone?
It's a lot. She does. She's a couple, actually.
Yeah.
She actually has a couple of them.
It's like a Nokia brick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Those things work through anything. She's probably texting underwater.
How much typing did she do?
Yeah.
And it's working really well because apparently
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember that.
successfully
It's
texted
terrible.
4 people.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
Just kind of stare at it for a moment. I was like, today is supposed to be a personal day. Send back. Why?
It's really important. Something's come up.
What?
I can't tell you over the phone. It's important.
This makes me want to go even less.
You're thinking, well, maybe she's a little worried about texting a lot on her phone. It might crap out on her and die, you know?
All right.
Okay. Cool. Right. Jody, you finished the thing. I guess you're heading where after this? Probably home to maybe bury the items under concrete or something like that?
No, I was gonna reach out to the White Council.
Okay. How are you going to do that?
I don't know.
Well, no, actually, you have a phone number.
Yeah, I know.
And the
Anyway.
landline works.
So yeah. I was gonna head home.
So you
Or
hop a
I was
bus.
gonna head to call them.
Right. You
don't
hop a
like-
bus. It's about 11 o'clock when you get to your house. Are the rest of you showing up at 11 a.m.?
Yeah, I'm gonna swing by a taco truck and just get like a big
Right.
buttload of tacos.
Rest of you?
I mean,
Yeah.
I will try. I mean,
Okay.
it's-
You blearily come in with your big cup of coffee. You're rolling up. You probably got, you finished reloading your gun, so you're good.
No, I'm looking at my text message going, why is she
No, you don't see
happy
any.
about a taco in a truck?
That's the
Like,
text.
I
I
was
sent-
messaged. I was messaged
Yeah.
that.
I sent back that text to whoever sent me the text, so
Ah.
I don't know where
No
it went.
reply. No reply. Yeah, there's no reply. Oh, well, no, you probably get a thumbs up emoji back, actually.
I like tacos, but I just
Like,
don't
oh,
have
she's
it.
Kyle,
looking.
you-
I'm gonna
Cool.
park a block down from where
Yeah.
she's at and kind of enter surreptitiously.
Surreptitiously?
Jeez.
That too. Sneakily.
I'm having a stroke over here. Yeah.
All right.
Stroke of serendipity.
Yes, serendipity. All right. You go walking up to your front porch and you notice that a black, what's your car's name?
Oh,
Impala.
Yeah.
Black Impala has just pulled up about a block down the street. I know, right? And you see Volt get out, which is kind of weird. Miranda is walking down the street from the opposite direction. Bunk's coming across the street, and you're.
Do I
pulls up
start
in
to
front of
see
your
them
house.
all converging?
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
I have-
Am I outside my house or
Yes,
inside?
you're walking towards your house,
And everyone's kind of
converging at the same
I'm
time.
stopping. I'm just stopping where I am.
hmm
I think I'm back up
I
even.
need an alertness check from everybody.
Because this is not normal. This is
I'm
abnormal.
just holding a giant bag full of tacos, and I'm like, oh, I didn't bring enough for everybody.
Oh no!
This is just
I noticed
enough for
everybody
me
was
and
going.
I got
Oh,
a
dang.
tree.
Okay.
I also got 3.
Okay.
Can you go negative?
Yes.
Negative
Oh,
one.
we're actually rolling for it?
Yeah. Alertness check. Yeah. It's not combat. It's noticing something.
I got a 4.
Okay. If you got a 3 or higher, you notice that there's somebody sitting on Dela's front porch.
It's the devil man with a cell phone.
No, actually not. There's a guy. He's you can't really see him because your porch is kind of deep because it wants to be shadowed because it's hot out. And you've got a little set of chairs and a table between them, and there's a guy sitting in the chair nearest to the door into your little house. And so he's sitting there.
I had already as I saw them all coming, I took 2 steps back.
Right. You can look closer.
At him?
Yeah.
Well, first I'm gonna look and see them. Like, what are
Yeah.
y'all doing here? And then I'm gonna look at him.
Mm-hmm.
You invited us? I sent an emoji. You replied
No, you
with an
didn't say
emoji.
anything. No.
I
Nothing.
yeah, but I didn't know why. I thought you were just being nice and bringing me some tacos.
No, you didn't see the taco emoji or anything. It did not come to you. Because she sent it back to the number that said Dela Fontenot. Right.
I just sent it in the
yeah.
chat to
Ah.
represent.
We're going to need that,
Oh,
so
I'm
it's
sorry,
okay.
Never mind.
Yeah, you
I
haven't
did
seen
not
it. No.
see Okay. Okay, so then, yeah, I would have stopped and said, "What are they doing here?" And
Yeah.
then I'll know. I'll see.
There's a guy sitting. Oh, there's a shadowy figure.
Can
Okay.
Is he out of the shadow enough that I can see who it is?
Yeah, it's a gentleman. You really can't see his face because, again, he's kind of shadowed under your porch. He's got his arms resting on something like this, right by your door. For all intents and purposes, you're pretty sure it's a broadsword.
Ooh. Cool.
Oh, can
You
I-
don't see that it's shiny, so it must
Samurai.
still be sheathed. But he's just resting his chin on it like
What kind of clothes
this.
is he wearing?
A suit.
A suit.
You can't really see much about him besides that he's wearing dark clothes, so it's probably a suit or something like that. You do see that there's like the sparkle of what looks like a tie tack at maybe his throat. So
Can
there's a
I-
glint of metal on one of his arms too.
I like this guy already.
Okay.
Is he hiring?
I was like, who's your friend?
Can I help you?
Well, you haven't gotten up there. You stopped, and there you guys are still out in the street. So I mean,
okay,
if you're
alright.
you're far enough that if you wanted to, you could always run away. I
I'm
mean,
gonna-
you're not close to him yet.
I'm gonna start walking forward, and I'm gonna say,
Same.
"Why are you guys here?"
We
You
I
told us to
got a
come.
text.
I didn't text anybody.
I told you I didn't want to come, but you told me to
Yeah,
come.
yeah, I told you it was too early.
I
You
I
didn't
didn't text
explicitly say,
anybody.
but I got the vibe you were hungry from the text. So, like,
I literally I hand the biggest texter my phone. Oh,
Yeah, that's how I was looking for.
yeah,
You can't prove jack.
No, because look, zzz.
I'm like, it's
I'll go down.
Phones die. Nobody can show anybody anything.
because I'm out.
Damn it! Another one.
All right, look, just you guys hang here, and then if I look like I'm in trouble,
I think
I'm
I'd
gonna-
like to meet this man.
I'm
I'm gonna
gonna
go up
watch-
with you.
I'll go with you.
Okay.
or just come.
By all
with
means.
me.
You
Yeah.
guys gonna hang
Come
back?
on.
You guys gonna hang back?
All right.
You start walking towards
Can
the
I help?
porch.
At this point, I'm
Well,
guilty.
you start
Can I
walking
help
towards
you?
the porch. Before you say anything, he actually stands up, and you realize that the sword that he's got, he actually had it kicked to the side. This is a full-size two-handed sword, and it literally, he takes it and he kind of, you notice that he swings it around and buckles it behind his back. I guess he was resting his chin on it while he was waiting, and so he stands up. It's a gentleman. He's wearing glasses. He's got grayish, silvery hair, a long beard and mustache. I mean, pretty significant beard and mustache. He is wearing a dark suit, and you notice that he's got a metal gauntlet on one arm, and then one of the shoulder, I think it's a pauldron that's on. The picture of this gentleman is right here.
Bruh.
Oh, pretty cool.
Stately, elderly man, carrying a two-handed sword and wearing medieval armor on one hand, on one shoulder. And as you walk up, he goes, "Warden Fontenot?" And he's got this really nice, rich voice.
Yes, I am. I
He-
hear you.
He walks
texted
up, sticks his
everyone.
hand out, and he says, "Warden Elias Dupree." At which point you see now that he's got this little short cloak that he's got kind of wrapped tight around him. It's hot. He really doesn't want it close to him, but he reaches out and shakes your hand, and he says, "Volt Kruger."
Yeah, I shake his hand.
Okay.
But I do like the test of strength thing. I'm not gonna crush his hand,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I wanna size him up a little bit.
He well, I mean, he's strong, but he's not superhumanly strong.
Okay.
You can tell that this guy
Good to know.
he's a strong guy. He's got a good grip, probably from wielding swords a lot.
He also shakes your hand with his gauntlet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. He does actually.
Okay.
And then he goes, "Marissa, the current holder of the Miranda." He goes, "Miranda, the current Knight of the Cross in New Orleans, correct?"
I like shift the bag of tacos into my sword hand and be like,
He shakes your hand,
Yeah.
and I assume that you are. One of you is Bunk, and the other one is Darwin.
We get them mixed up all the time too.
I'm just imagining he's like saying that, pointing out at us, because I'm not up there with you guys. No.
Well, that's what he is. He's pointing out at you two. Which is
Are
who?
they close enough to hear?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys
Oh,
can
yeah.
hear. Yeah.
I imagine it's kind of like, when someone's standing on the street and you're yelling from your porch. It's
Yeah,
like,
that's
and
kinda-
you're, the...
He doesn't seem to be having any trouble making himself being heard either. So yeah.
Yeah.
Those are just neighborhood kids.
I'm Darwin.
And he steps and he says, "Well, don't be afraid. Come on forward." And he says, "Like to shake your hand."
Big sword.
So I'm not going to use it on
This
you
is
unless you want me
Literally a
to.
cloak and dagger
Yeah,
situation.
he looks at you and he says, "I'm not going to use it on you unless you want me to," which I'm not sure
Cloak
why
and
that would be a
dagger.
reason.
No, don't want that.
That's early.
No. Well, shake my hand. All right.
All right, yep.
When you shake his hand, well, all of you do, except for, of course, you two, you get this, spark. He's obviously a practitioner. And he says, "Warden Dupree, I'm in charge of the Mississippi and Louisiana region of the White Council. You have never heard that anybody was above you, Jody. You were pretty much, because, the wardens had been kind of killed by the Red Court vampires, and they were kind of on the low end of the ebb. And so you had been sent to New Orleans, and you really didn't have a whole lot of backup. The nearest warden you knew of was this guy named Wild Bill, who's out in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then that's pretty much it. There's a few of them in the Northeast. You know, there's Warden Dresden that's up in Chicago, but there really aren't that many wardens. Ramirez, I think, is out in charge of California, Washington. He's got like a 3-state area that he's in charge of. So there really aren't many wardens. Yeah, he's got a lot of territory to cover. So he says, well, would you mind if we went inside?
Yeah.
You would mind if we went inside?
Yeah.
You're going to make us stand out there? It's hot. You realize that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. Well, don't invite me in.
Explain to me when I've never heard of the Mississippi Louisiana White Council. I'm the only one here.
Correct. Which is why I came out of retirement. Because I'm sure you know, we're short on wardens right now. We've got a lot of younger wardens. I had retired from being a warden, which you're like, you get to retire from being a wizard? How old do you have to be to retire from being a wizard? Which tells you this guy may be really old.
Well, do you think a letter or maybe contacting me first before you send text to people that I'm working with randomly?
I wanted to meet your team. You obviously have done an excellent job in rooting out the necromancers and destroying them.
Whoa. Who said we're a team?
But
Well, you've been working together is what I've heard.
Well, sure, but
we're a team, these guys?
we just happen to be in the area.
They're like, we're a team.
I still don't know why I'm here.
No, he's
Too
like,
early.
oh, another lunch, another popcorn moment.
He says, I've also brought something so that it'll be a little easier for you to contact me from now on. He reaches kind of up under his cloak, and everybody kind of stiffens a bit, and he pulls out what, for all intents and purposes, looks like a silver, I don't know, loving cup like you would get as an award for taking first place. And he hands it to you, and he says, this is a scrying cup. If you need to get in touch with me, fill it with any liquid. Water's fine.
Blood.
That's what in my mind, I'm thinking blood.
He looks at you and he says, please don't use blood.
Oh, did you say that out loud?
Probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
He says, I wouldn't use coffee because it makes the image kind of jittery. And he goes, love that joke.
Oh no.
Bulk with his coffee, not amused.
I thought he was evil, but it's worse. He's corny.
Yeah, that's right. He is. And so he hands you the cup and he says, you can use it to scry me and reach me directly. No matter where I am, I will be able to take your call or your message so that if you need any backup or help, we can help you. Obviously, New Orleans is a very dangerous place. Captain Lucio didn't realize how dangerous it was when she sent you down here. And you need people who can come to your help.
Yes, I agree.
He says, so can we go inside now? It's really hot. And how do you put up with this cloak in this freaking humidity?
Because I've grown up in it. And
What,
yes.
November, though?
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I was like, wait until August.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord. Because, right, it's November. It's actually cool.
It's like, this is a
He's so
great part of the year.
It
This
is
is
still
amazing.
hot.
He looks at you and says,
It's hot.
oh my gosh.
We're chilly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Like, don't you like
One of those
He
random
How
says-
can you not be
warm
wearing
November days.
which makes him even more suspicious?
Well, no, he's wearing a suit. He is wearing a 3-piece suit with the whole, vest and
in
everything.
itself
So
is
it is
suspicious,
hot.
but well, I'm gonna say, well, in the future, please refrain from contacting my team
Of course.
individually. Thank you.
Well, I did want them all together for one particular reason, and he says, if you wouldn't mind, and he reaches and he grabs this pin, and it's like a little silver staff, looked like a wizard's staff. As Warden Fontenot, I hereby formally invest you as Warden of the City of New Orleans under the command of Warden Dupree, who is in charge of the southeast area. And he reaches over and pins it to your cloak. You've seen some of the wardens wearing these. So this seems kind of legit. He says, if you ever lose this pin, we will know. and can send someone in to assist you, because if you lose the pin, we know you're in trouble.
Okay.
If the pin is ever destroyed, again, we know you're in trouble, and we will move everyone we can to try and help you and assist you.
Okay.
He says, also,
Before you finish,
yeah,
did you want to go inside?
well, I would like to. It is kind of hot
Alright,
out here.
I'm gonna unlock the door and open
Okay.
it.
Now, he does not ask to be invited in, okay? Which means that he's leaving a lot of his power at the door, okay? You don't have a really strong threshold, but he is not asking to be invited in. So that means
I'm
he's
gonna
going to...
say,
Yeah.
come on in.
Okay, so you come on in, and he says, well, look, would you like some tea? Do you have stuff for tea? I have stuff for tea. Would you like some
I
tea?
look at the teapot.
Miranda starts crying.
Like, just
he reaches on underneath this cloak. He keeps pulling stuff out from underneath the cloak, and he pulls out this little leather satchel. It's a merce, okay, yeah. And he says, "Here." He puts it out on the table and opens it and reaches in and pulls out a steaming pot of tea and then 6 cups. And he says, "I assume Earl Grey is fine." Fine.
Mary Poppins.
And he says, "Wait until you see what else I pull out of here." And so he starts pouring the tea, and he hands you each a cup of tea.
being from the South, this is not what I thought when he said tea, but I'll take it.
Same.
Iced tea. I forget.
Sweet.
Sweet. Oh, you do get the idea that this guy is not from this area. He may be from.
Yeah, where are you from?
Well,
You're not from
originally,
around here, yeah.
originally hail from the UK. The British Isles.
Okay.
He doesn't have any kind of accent, which he says. But like I said, I was retired. I had kind of retired to Ireland, was doing a bit of magical research, and the White Council called. And so, how can you refuse a call by the White Council? As you know, you really can't. Speaking of, and you are welcome to refuse this, if either one of you is interested in formal training so that you can become full-fledged wizards at some point, please, you are more than welcome to contact me. I would be happy to take either one of you as apprentices and maybe continue your training to help you fully realize your abilities, whatever they may be.
Interesting proposal.
Anyone who assists a warden in the performing of her duly appointed duties obviously deserves consideration by the White Council. You know that there's some good people on the White Council. You know there's also some really big jerks on the White Council, so you're a little surprised that they're offering to do this. But hey, this guy may be just a really nice fellow. And you also know that you got the last warden sword by Captain Lucio, so maybe she sent this guy, I mean, you were the last one to get a magical sword from anybody, so there you go. Before she lost the ability. So he sips his tea and he says, "Now, do you have any questions for me?"
Are you Merlin?
No. No, not at all. Actually, the person who leads the White Council is known as the Merlin, but he's not the Merlin. The Merlin has, unfortunately, long since passed from this plane of existence, though he may not potentially be dead.
Is Santa Claus a wizard?
Ooh, better question.
I'm really not allowed to explain Santa Claus. He's not
Above my pay grade.
He's not. Well, no, he just asked me not to tell anyone who he really was.
That's good.
He is Santa Claus.
Still trust him.
He
breaks into your
Santa,
house.
though.
I'm
Sorry, I know I'm on a
Temper
personal level, and it feels
fable.
kind of wrong to divulge
Just kind of out him
information.
like this. Yeah,
right.
that's exactly right.
Well,
I have a question, if you don't mind, real quick. You said that if she loses the badge thing, then someone can come. Well, how do we define lose? Like, if it's just off her person, is like a distance thing. If she throws it on the ground, is someone just magically going to come? I'm just curious.
Right, it's a good question. It's if it's removed forcibly from her warden cloak, is what it is. That's a good question.
Okay.
If somebody ripped her warden cloak off, then it could potentially be lost. If someone destroyed her warden cloak, which is a pretty good trick because they are pretty resilient, and wound up destroying the pin, then yes,
I see.
The White Council will be alerted. Yes. Specifically,
I'm sure this will never happen. But
we'll hope not.
what if she lost the cloak?
Well, assuming the pin is attached to it, then yes, probably the White Council would be. I would be alerted, and I would, of course, tell the White Council and say that we have a warden in trouble, and we need to do what we can to assist her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
The whole organization thing kind of has got me befuddled.
Right.
So you're over Mississippi and Louisiana?
It is the panhandle of Florida, yes.
Okay.
Basically the Gulf Coast region, but not including the little part of Florida that sticks down, yes.
They're weird down there. Okay. And so she reports to you.
Correct.
And you report to
the White Council.
So
Why not Alabama?
I don't know. I think they have another warden who's going to be taking Alabama, Georgia, and then the Carolinas.
Okay.
Alabama refuses to have anything to do with Mississippi.
yeah,
They're lost.
They
And
don't need a
so is there
warden.
like there's a bunch of
They
like
have a number
so
one
who's over
college
like
football
Texas and
well,
Oklahoma?
Texas I know is under Wild Bill, but we're trying to get wardens back in place over the entire United States, so that if there is a problem, people, the paranetters, of course, are able to. Which, when you hear paranetter, that was something that was kind of below the radar of the White Council, and he's mentioned something you're kind of like, wait, paranetters? He knows about the paranet? That's a little creepy. He says, well, I don't specifically personally use the paranet because no computer's going to work around me. He says, but we're trying to set up a network of wardens across the entire United States to keep people safe. So, yeah.
So New Orleans has so she's
Is in charge of New Orleans, right?
so is there like someplace in charge of like say Jackson, Mississippi,
Yeah, Jackson's pretty quiet, actually, so.
like Dallas?
Yeah, Wild Bill handles Dallas, Fort Worth
But he didn't
area.
have anybody working for him.
We're trying to get him some other young wardens who can maybe help him. Texas is a big place. We'd like to have a warden stationed in the Austin, Houston, San Antonio area. We just don't have anybody who's ready to handle that yet. Again, most of our wardens got killed in at Archangel when the Red Court vampires attacked and killed almost everybody. We were down to about 30 wardens at that point.
Wow.
We're back up to around 100, but they're young. A lot of them are in their 20s. They're not ready to handle this. Your character's kind of in the mid-20s, so you're actually reasonably young, but you're old for a lot of the wardens. So yeah. He says, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And I report directly to Ebenezer McCoy, just to let you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that name. Ebenezer McCoy.
It's very melodic.
You know, Jody, that Ebenezer McCoy is a member of the White Council, the leadership of the White Council. He's old enough to possibly be Merlin. You know that he was the one who trained Warden Dresden and taught him to be a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
From the Dresden
Wizard
Files.
Dresden.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dresden Files, right? Yeah.
Well, then I was going to contact the White Council today anyway.
Right.
We had a bit of business last night.
Right, so tell me about it. And so, he sips his tea. I know some of the details. I know that there
Where
were...
did you hear the details from?
Well, I know that some information from around the city that there were a couple of necromancers who were destroyed. But I don't know... And I know that they were involved in some kind of nefarious deeds in the French Quarter, but I don't really know much more than that. Well, and I know your names because, as we all know, people talk.
And how much do you know about us?
Your names, that's about it. Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, there were a couple necromancers. Well, primarily a woman who was a necromancer, and she had a pretty powerful apprentice under her, and they were grooming a future adept or apprentice to work with them.
And you executed all of them.
Yes. Well, I executed the woman and the man.
Good.
The little younger apprentice one had been working in the I guess lackey's a better word.
Sucks. He says, sucks to be a lackey.
Yeah. He was like the guard of the St. Louis Cemetery,
Oh, dear.
and
He probably had to clean the latrines and sweep off the graves too. That sounds like not.
Anyway, he's since
Rent a
been
necromancer.
Right.
he's since been let go by the church that had hired him.
Right.
And,
he worked for the church.
well, he didn't. He technically, I mean, he wasn't a priest or anything.
Well, no.
He's just a guy who the church paid to.
Right.
Well,
generally the
fine on
priest,
things.
the church tends to be pretty unable to be swayed by the powers of necromancy and things like that.
Yeah, they were very.
They're generally made of
surprised
sterner
and
stuff.
shocked
Yes.
To find out about that.
Right.
Anyway, so
He smiles at you at that point.
as we anyway, long story short, the church also provided us with some police support, and it was there was a lot more it was a harder battle than we were expecting to have, and they had
Necromancers
some
are nasty.
pretty powerful tools, and but yeah, I killed the man and the woman, and then
Well, the way necromancers normally work is that they raise up undead souls and either manipulate them or devour them, depending on what time it is. And if they devour these souls, they can eventually become more and more powerful to the point where they can potentially ascend and become almost godlike in their abilities. If you remember, a few years ago, Warden Dresden put down a necromantic uprising in Chicago, fortunately, but it was pretty dangerous stuff. Mm-hmm. You didn't happen to get any of their items or recover any of the items that they were using for these spells?
Yes, that's what I was going to call the White Council about what to do with these items. I have a sacred obsidian dagger, found a crystal wand, there was a burial shroud, a skull ring, and some kind of like really gross cloak.
Do you mind if I see them?
No, I was going to give him the council anyway, so...
He looks at the skull ring and he says, oh, this is just a crutch to kind of help you do spells. It's not terribly useful for anyone but the actual practitioner. And he puts it down on the ground, stomps it, and it goes... and squashes, It's like pewter or something like that.
For a second, I thought you were like, oh, this is just some, pulp or punk accessories.
Yeah, right. So, and he takes up the wand and he says, again, another accessory that looks like it was used by the actual practitioner, and he snaps it in half, and no weird smoke or, ghostly presences. He goes, but these are pretty worthless. And he picks them up and puts them in the middle of your, coffee table. And he takes a look at the shroud and he says, Now, this is interesting. This is actually an invested item. It could be used, it looks like some form of protective magic is woven into it. And he says, that's interesting. Should be pretty easy to destroy. And he looks at the black cloak and says, same thing here, minor protective magic. I expect between you three, you should be able to unravel it pretty easily. And then he looks at the dagger and he says, oh, now this, where did they get a hold of this? This is real. And he starts looking at it and he says, I think this may be South American. I think this is real. And he says, yeah, there's a lot of really nasty energies swirling around this thing. If I may, I would like to take this back to the White Council so that someone a little better at manipulating items can take a look at it and possibly unravel it. That's going to be a bit out of my range.
Yeah, sounds good. Oh, and I almost forgot. This book of necromantic arts.
Oh,
it may just be a diary. I don't know. I haven't had time. We finished the battle late last night. I was at the police station this morning, so I haven't really had time to
he says,
look
well,
at anything.
Sure. I'll take it and make sure it's put in you can probably burn it if you want to. I mean, it's not magical or anything.
Okay.
And then you notice he kind of does this, and you realize he's been using his wizard sight. which is a little creepy because that means he's had a chance to look at all of you with his wizard sight.
What does that mean for us?
Wow.
Anything?
Wizard sight allows you to kind of see what someone looks like, their abilities, their innermost being. So, like in the
So
books,
you can tell that.
I'm a dragon.
probably knows you're a dragon.
I squint my eyes at him.
And he probably, he would know that you're a practitioner. He would probably see you as a jazz musician. Maybe you're through wizard sight. You're probably holding a trombone. He probably sees you as a guy with a bunch of, little monocles and stuff like that, where you actually are manipulating.
So we have like avatars, like
Right, kind of, yeah. That's exactly like in the Dresden Files when Harry
awesome.
looks at Murph, the cop that he's hanging out with, he sees her as like an angel with a glowing halo of light, but her wings, her wings and her robes are kind of tattered. And no, they're not tattered. Excuse me. They're kind of dirty because, well, she's had to see some pretty terrible things as a policewoman, and so that's what he sees her as. And actually, at one point, she does pick up one of the swords of the cross and wields it. But so he probably knows that you're, a knight of the cross or something like that. So not anything more than superficial. He would probably know you're a dragon.
Would they know that he'd done that?
I don't think we.
No, probably the rest of you wouldn't know. Only Jody, you might really realize what he's doing. You might not even realize it at all. But yeah, okay. You know. Okay, Jody, the only way he would be able to actually see the stuff around the knife and things like that is if he opened his wizard sight.
I know.
So that's the thing. You figure he probably did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest of you would have no
He's
idea.
very brushed up on his, Mesoamerican,
Yeah. Yeah.
He's pretty old, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's from England. He's probably, more like flint knives would be his thing, not obsidian knives. There you
He's
go.
like Giles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giles, but older.
The old Van Helsing.
Yeah.
So it'd be even
Sorry,
creepier if he
go.
hooked up with our mom.
Do you want to pass out the tacos now so we can eat?
Oh yeah. So there's only enough for like 2 for everybody. There was gonna be enough for like 12 of us each, but that's fine. I'm fine sharing. We can go out again for food later.
Actually, Dupree says that he will pass on the tacos. His stomach, as old as he is a little touchy on some things. So, but he says they smell wonderful.
Authentic street food from New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm a little more used to perhaps milder flavors being from the UK. So, which you're like, yeah.
You came to the
Got it.
wrong place.
Right. You're coming to New Orleans, and wow, you are going to have some tummy
Stick
trouble.
with McDonald's, and
Right.
Burger King.
Right, steak, yeah, and not even blackened steaks. Just go with the regular
You
stuff.
can order
right?
Jaffa cakes on Amazon.
Yeah.
So
So he
Amazon
says, yeah.
I'm going to tell him. So I've come across somebody who I think could become a wizard, who has great potential to be a wizard eventually.
Oh,
I was gonna just kind of take her under my wing and kind of teach her some stuff.
Absolutely.
Or would you want something different to be
no,
done?
no, go right ahead.
Okay.
Wizards need apprentices. I don't have one currently because obviously I just came out of retirement. But if you ever are in need of some, furthering of your education, let me know. We won't call you apprentices. You guys are much more powerful than that. But lackeys. He laughs and says, "Just kidding."
And we also this
Students.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
This young lady who I'm gonna make an apprentice. She has an older brother who is gifted, but he totally denies he has any abilities. I mean, staunchly, just he thinks it's ridiculous.
Keep working on it. I'll leave that up to you, Warden Fontenot. That's up to your judgment. You're in charge of New Orleans, so I leave that to your capable hands.
Okay. Do I have to apprise you of missions or stuff, or
No.
am I still just doing my thing?
But if you need anything, you have the silver jar, so let me know for sure.
Gotcha.
He says, "Well, this has been thoroughly enlightening and pleasant. I have enjoyed meeting all of you. And again, the offer stands. Just let me know. And Warden Fontenot, it was a pleasure to invest you formally as Warden of New Orleans.
Thank you. It was nice to
Volt
meet you as well.
and Miranda, truly a pleasure." He sticks his hands out and shakes your hands and stuff like that. And he says, "I will be on my way. I will need to head back to the White Council. Let's see. I'll have to think about where the nearest ways through the Never Never is. Probably need to head towards maybe one of the ley lines in the area. You wouldn't happen to have a ley line map, would you?
Well, I guess I
I
would.
pull out my map.
Actually, you do.
Were you mapping ley lines too?
I was just
She had a
mapping
tourist
weird
map.
shit around town.
You didn't have any ley lines, Myra.
Connected, you know.
Flip it over.
Because Dela's been.
Yeah.
I'm like comparing.
Researching
my
I made you a ley line map
Thank
today.
you.
That's what
Nice.
we were working on today. Yeah.
Seeing if there's any.
He kind of looks at your ley line map and he says, I think probably the Superdome would have a really good area of entrance to the Never Never, and that would probably take me close to where I want to be. He says, well, I will hop a bus to the Superdome, and I will let me know if you need anything.
All right. Thank you very much.
He tips his head, hat to, well, he doesn't have a hat, he tips his head to you, and heads towards the door, heads on out, big sword across his back. You do notice as he gets further from your house, the sword seems to kind of fade out of existence, maybe like he's throwing up a veil or something like that to hide it. And he heads down the street, and almost on command, it seems like, a bus shows up right at the end of your street, and you're like, oh, it is, every 15 minutes, so yeah, that's about time for it. He hops on the bus and says something to the bus driver, and off they whisk. And you're like, it's interesting. Today on the Dresden Download, we're going to talk about ley lines. Now, if you're wondering what a ley line is, some people believe that ley lines actually exist, and they were first kind of identified in the 1920s. People noticed that there was a correspondence along straight lines between different buildings and roads or things like that in the real world. But in the Dresden files, ley lines definitely exist, and they are a flow of power inside the earth. They can have different aspects. They can be destructive, defensive, healing, malevolent, all those different things. In our game, we have several ley lines that are operating underneath New Orleans. One of them, Dela has identified, has a dark aspect, and she hasn't quite figured out exactly what aspect that is, but it's not good. Anyway, ley lines are also sometimes used as places where you can enter the Never Never because they cause a weakening in the barrier and it makes it easier to get into the Never Never from there. And that's what Dupree was looking for so that he could travel somewhere else. Anyway, that's ley lines in the Dresden verse.